Okay, so today's affirmation is for anyone who's overcoming an abusive relationship, anyone who's been in a relationship with a toxic person or a narcissist. The affirmation goes, I can communicate my emotions with the people who deserve to hear my voice. I am transitioning from surviving to thriving. I choose life. I choose life. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah V, and today we're going to be talking about 10 things that I've learned from dating a narcissist, being friends with a narcissist, communicating with narcissists. I feel like I've met up with my fair share of narcissists in this 30 years that I've been on this earth. So I just wanted to share a couple of things that have helped me along the way, and maybe, it'll benefit anyone who is dealing with a narcissist, or you feel like you're in a relationship or a friendship with someone who's narcissistic or has narcissistic traits. Okay, so the first thing that I learned, you have to stand your ground when it comes to what you desire. So you have to have, if you have an opinion, you have to make it known, and you also have to stick by that opinion. Your voice matters, your opinions matter. The things that you desire in life, they matter, and you have to let that be known. Number 2, living in a constant state of confusion is toxic. You can't be like just confused all the time about everything. It's very toxic. And when I was, dealing with narcissists as friends or in relationships that I've had, I was always like just in a constant state of confusion. Like, what did I do wrong? Or what's going on? Like, what really happened? Because I don't know. I have no idea. And I was just thinking like I was being understanding. And that's not the case. I was confused. And especially if it's something that is consistent, over time, you need to understand where you are and that you are confused. And you need to search for a way to get clarity of what's going on, and not even for them, but for yourself. Clarity is your best protection. Living in a state of confusion, it weakens you. It weakens you because they say a confused mind does nothing. So once you're in a state of confusion, you're out of control. Someone else has control over you because you have no idea. So they tell you, oh, turn this way, and that's where you're going because you're confused. So you're stagnant. You're staying in one place. Gain clarity for yourself so that you can take back control over your life. Number 3, it's important to have a life of your own. I remember being, in a friendship with someone that I felt like had narcissistic tendencies, and I was very much like, it was like I was the only friend. And it's not that the person didn't have friends. They had friends. I just didn't have friends. And I was like, okay, this is not okay. I need to have, my own set of friends. And it was one of those things. It wasn't like I didn't want to have friends, because I'm a very social person, but it was like, oh, this person, I don't think they really like you like that. Anybody that I would try to be friends with, it was like, oh, I don't think this person really likes you like that. Are you sure that that's your friend? And it was just a constant state of, again, confusion and questioning, like, do they really like me, or do they not like me? So you just need to make sure you have your own life. And this is after, especially after any relationship, a lot of these tips goes for after the situation, because that person is always going to try to keep you in that state. You're never going to be able to get to a point where you and them can coexist and you can have a lot of these things, and then they, I don't feel that way. After being around several different types of several different narcissists, I don't think that can happen. So after this situation, just make sure that you have a life of your own. And if you are in a situation like that and you don't have a life of your own, just understand that that's a red flag. You not having, something that you can call your own, people that you can talk to, different things like that, that's a major red flag. You need to have your own life. You were born by yourself. You weren't born with this person. And you were thriving before this person met you. So you should be able to do it again. Being around narcissists, it taught me to set boundaries. If you don't have any boundaries, it's like a city with no walls. You're gonna constantly be attacked. You're gonna constantly be you will be destroyed because you have no boundaries. You have no stopping points to tell someone, hey, you've gone too far. You need to back up. You need to be able to set boundaries, and setting boundaries is just knowing, when someone is getting to a point where it's like, okay, this is my line in the sand. On this point, I'm steadfast in this point. You cannot do X, Y, and Z to me and get away with it, because there are going to be consequences. And that falls into the next thing, maintaining those boundaries. So just because you set boundaries, it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just stop there. You have to maintain that. You have to let your no be no. If you say, this is my line in the sand and I don't want you to cross it, what happens when the person crosses it? Because every narcissist is going to cross. They're going to cross that line. And you have to put yourself in a position where you're like, okay, well, you crossed the line, and this is what happens when you cross the line. You no longer have access to me, or, this is the consequence, and follow through with that consequence, because you will be tested. And I feel like it's not just with narcissists, but anyone in your life. When you set a boundary, they're gonna test it. So being with a narcissist taught me definitely how to let my no be no. If I said no, it's no. Because most of the time, the narcissist will go over that boundary, and they will go further because you let them cross over. So you yourself don't respect that boundary that you set. So they'll go further and further until you feel overly disrespected. So let you know we know. Another thing that I learned from being around narcissists is that you can love someone from a distance, especially if the person doesn't have the capacity to love you back the same way. You can love them, and you can root for them, and you can want to see them succeed, and you don't have to be in their presence. You don't have to be in their inner circle. You don't even have to have communication with them. So it taught me how to just be where I am and still love people and want the best for them, and not have to be around them, because at the end of the day, the person who was suffering was me. I was being drained. I was confused. I wasn't thriving, because when the person is draining you, but they're feeding off of you, and then they're becoming, the best version of themselves, and you're losing and the person is gaining. Number 7 is forgiveness. I learned that I had to forgive myself for who I became when I was in survival mode, when I was trying to survive those toxic relationships. I had to forgive myself and understand that that's not the person I am. That's just who I was when I needed to survive, when I needed to get from point A to point B. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I know the relationships that I was in, friendships and intimate relationships, it was for a long time. So I sat down and I became someone that I couldn't recognize, and I had to forgive myself for that, for becoming that person. Okay, number 8 is I learned a lot about self-love, loving myself, understanding that when you meet a narcissist, most of the time narcissists choose you. And they're choosing you because you have an abundance of love and light in you. And that's what they want to feed off of. They want to feed off of that so that you can turn into basically a physical manifestation of what they feel on the inside. You end up being exactly what they feel. So on the outside, you're going to be numb. You're going to look numb, cold, bitter, empty. So self-love was something that I definitely learned. And and heavy emphasis on self-love. It was something that I really learned along the way. All right, number 9, rejection is your protection. When I was in relationships with narcissists, I found myself always like being desperate for validation, desperately seeking to be accepted. And what's not for you is not for you. Like people often say, African people often say, "What's for you shall see your face." So you just have to understand that whatever is for you is for you. And if it's not for you, it's often for your protection. It doesn't align with the path that you're on. It's not for you. If it's so hard to get like that, like you're basically begging for it. Like, give me love, give me attention, or give me some type of reciprocal love that I've been giving you all my love. Give me something back. And if you're not getting that, then let it go. Let it go. It's not for you. It shouldn't be that hard. Let it go. Oftentimes it's to protect you in the first place. So let that ring in your ear as loud as it can. Let it go. What's for you shall see your face. Okay, and finally, number 10 is to take your time getting to know people. Like, you literally have time. You have time. Don't invite people into your space. Don't invite people into areas of your life until you feel comfortable, until you trust them. Take your time, get to know people. If you take your time and get to know people, you'll see who they are before you give them access to the things that are close to you. And before they have a chance to destroy that. So take your time, get to know people, make sure like this person is going to come into your space and be helpful and not hurtful. And that is it. That's the end of it. The 10 things that I learned. I'll leave a list of them down below so you can go through them and just, see exactly what I'm talking about, and tell me which one resonated with you.